Hello, and welcome to NotesIn9. I'm David Leedy. Episode 35, XPages ViewPicker List, version 3.0, From Texas to Africa, Documentation via Collaboration. Okay, before we get started on the show, there's a couple brief things I want to talk about. The first is this other site that I've got called XPages.tv. And what this is, I've not done a good job with this site, and I still haven't, and it's ugly, and you can see that for yourself. But the goal is because Notes9 runs on WordPress, which I really don't know how to do anything with WordPress. So I didn't have a good table of contents. I have been trying to update XPages.tv, and I got behind, and last night I did some um, work on it to try and get more links onto the shows. So I'm fairly well up to date for the normal shows. I still need to do the extended editions, but again, this has good links to the Jumpstart, which is the extended episodes 1 and 6, and now all the X Pages themed normal Notes9 shows, and eventually, hopefully by the weekend, all the extended edition shows. So if you are looking to get in X Pages and stuff like that, here's a good place to go to for all my stuff. And then there's obviously a lot of other materials out there. I'm still trying to work on a better site overall for this, but things have been coming up, so that's why you haven't seen that yet. But it's coming. Some other recent happenings is this show is about the ViewPicker Custom Control, and I've got a guest speaker on to do who chose to do this on his own. He volunteered, John Jardin, who's a great up and comer X-Page community member. But I did want, even though I've highlighted this custom control before, I did want to mention that there's a lot of custom controls on OpenNTF, login and caption, and even the Dilbert custom control. And I do intend to highlight a lot of these on future shows as soon as kind of like life settles down here and I've got a little more time. So just because I've done this custom control on Notes9 twice. The first one Mark did a couple episodes ago, and he's made a lot of updates since then, which is I think why John chose to kind of like do it again to show you how it works with the new things. Again, doesn't mean that there aren't other great custom controls out there. So I do highly recommend you go to OpenNTF and check those out. Another thing is, as this morning, Nicholas Heidloff posted a great posting on source control. This is so high on my list, it's not even funny. Source control is huge. And we run it in my day job here, and everything I've learned about source control I've learned from Declan Lynch, and I'm trying to get that into a Notes9 as soon as I can as well. That'll definitely be an extended edition. I'm mentioning it here because it really should be on your radar. In the normal Notes client dev, we never had great source control. We had Team Studio Chow, if you use that, and I liked that. But it's nothing like the stuff that all the other open source projects and things use, like the Mercurials and the SVNs and the collaboration and stuff like that. So it's a different way of doing it. So I'm trying to get a show together on using source control in the 853 client with the Redmine product for task management, and hopefully I'll get that out soon. And I just wanted to put that on your radar that Nicholas has a good posting on today. If you want to look at that a while, it's really important stuff. And even as a solo developer, I would not want to not have source control. Now, once you use it, you want to keep using it, even for like personal projects and stuff like that. Okay, that being said, we've got a guest speaker on today, coming back to the show that I'm always excited to have, John Jardin. He's a great guy. I talk to him a lot. He's from Ukavuma, Ukavuma, and I'll never get that right, I'm sure. But he's in South Africa, and he's just doing a lot of really good X Pages stuff. So he wanted to do another show on, or he wanted to do a show on the latest version of the ViewPicker List control because he's using that in his app, and I just dropped it into one of my work apps. I can't imagine really not having that right now. So he's going to walk us through using the 3.0 version of this. I do have some other guests lined up I'm trying to get to as soon as life settles down here, and there's more on the way. So with that, John, we'll go to the demo and take it.
Hi everyone and welcome to this tutorial. My name is John Jardin from Ukavuma, and today I'm going to show you how to implement the version 3 ViewPicker Custom Control into your XPages environment. To download this control, you'll have to go to openntf.org and you can just search Picklist Custom Control or ViewPicklist. You'll need to download the version 3.1 to follow with this tutorial. Once you've downloaded that zip file and extracted the contents, you'll see the following files. Open up the View Picklist Bundle 3.1.nsf in your Domino Designer. Okay, before we get there, let me just give you a quick demo of what we're going to do. I have an X page over here, and when I click on this button, it launches the Picklist control for me. Okay, so I'm going to go and select 2 values, and when I click on Finish, it goes and populates this field over here. Now, this is actually a deselect custom control that ships with the View Picklist control. That's one of the features that we're going to focus on because it allows us to manage this list. The second feature is the loading mask, and this will now be added on your X page and will pop up every time a partial or full refresh occurs. So for example, if I click here, you'll see the loading mask in the middle of the page. Alright, so let's get straight to the tutorial. First thing you'll need to do is once you've got your Picklist bundle database open in Domino Designer, you will need to copy over the following design elements into your XPages application. And that's these 3 custom controls, um, these 2 script libraries, these 2 images, and these 3 files, which are 3 PNGs, and finally the 2 style sheets. So once you have that over into your database, then we can pretty much begin. Before I do that, I just want to show everyone that I have a view here called cities, and it's got 1 column in it, and I've captured 4 cities for now. And we're going to use these as list values in our pick list control. All right. So create an X page and call it X whatever. I'm going to call mine X pick list and click on OK. What we'll first do is we'll go to the X page properties and we'll have to set the Dojo pass on load and Dojo theme to true. Cool. The second thing we have to do is we have to add our view as a data source to this page so that we can reference it in our picklist control. So under data, add a domino view and select the view that you want to reference. So once we've done that, we can now go and add the loading mask. It's important that the loading mask is at the top of your X page. Alright, so if we go to the all properties of the loading mask, we need to go and just populate these 2 fields, the image source, choose loader image, and the startup image, choose loader image 2. Okay, be sure to remove the forward slashes from these 2 properties. Alright, so that's our loading mask done and dusted. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a panel, and I'm going to call it my panel. And I'm going to be adding all my controls inside this panel. Okay, so once I've created the panel and named it, I'm then going to go and add a computed field to this panel. I'm going to call this my cities, and this will be the field that will hold all the values we select from the pick list. All right. So the value of my cities what we're going to do is we're going to use a scope variable. So if I click on advanced, I can choose scope variable. It will be a view scope and we can call it cities. Great. Next, we can add the deselect control and we just drag it next to the my cities field. And we can go to the all properties. We'll need to give it a value, call it deselect1. And the field data source. All right, this is the data source that we will that will be bound to this control. So that will be the request scope that we used on this field. Not request scope, my apologies, view scope. So all we do here is under field data source, we say view scope dot cities. The field ID is the computed field that will be populated, which will be my cities. That's this field over here. The multi-value separator will use commas. The remove image will use the delete.png that we copied over, and we add that by adding a point / delete.png. There we go. So the remove type will be an image, and you can also specify if it's the required field. So that's our deselect control out of the way. So the last thing that we need to do is add the pick list. So we just drag that into the panel as well. And we can now go to the properties. So let's first give it a value, dialog ID, we give it dialog 1. Multi-value separator is already there. We're not going to set a field value, we're going to set a scope value. Okay. So we'll also give it a title called select cities. And the refresh ID means that when we click on finish, a partial refresh is going to occur. What would you like to refresh? And I would like to refresh the entire panel so that the computed field as well as the deselect control get refreshed as well. So I'm just going to say my panel. Type will be multiple values. And the variable name, this is again our view scope. Come on. View scope dot cities. There we go. Alright, so we're almost done. What we need to do now is we need to add our view data source to this pick list control. So we just go and select our data source we created. Rows per page, you can change it to whatever you want. We're going to add one column, and that will be the first column. So the index of the first column will always be index 0. So we're going to have this one column in our pick list control, and we're also going to have this column be the values in this column get populated into the deselect control, so that we're selecting column 0. The final thing we need to do over here is we need to add a text to the button that we'll click, and we'll call it select cities. And we're done. We can save this and preview it in the browser, and you'll see here's our deselect control and here's our select cities. And when I click on this, I can now go and select the 3 of the 4 values that come from the view. And when I click on finish, it will go and populate the deselect control box, and you can see it's also populating the computed field. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of tweaking over here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to hide this computed field. Users don't need to see this, okay? They need to just see the deselect control box. And the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to stop this black flashing from occurring every time a refresh happens. Okay, so to do this, go back to your page and just click on My Cities, the computed field, and we're going to say it's no longer visible. So we're deselecting that property. Then we go to the loading mask, and under the properties of the loading mask, you'll see that the mask color is black. This is the flash that we've seen behind the scenes. We can change that to transparent. Now if I save this and preview it again, first thing, you'll see that the black flash is gone, but the loading mask is still there. It's because it's using a transparent background. And then the second thing is when we click on finish, our deselect control gets populated, but the computed field is now hidden. So I hope this was easy enough to follow. I apologize if I ran at this at a bit of a speed. There are also 2 other video tutorials about the ViewPick list that you'll be able to reference from my blog post, and these will show you how to use additional features in the ViewPick list like searching and type ahead, which are pretty awesome. But other than that, I hope you've enjoyed, and until next time, happy coding. Cheers.
And that's the demo. Thank you, John. I truly appreciate that. I know we've talked about some other stuff, and I'm excited, for that to hit the show. And if you have any questions for me, here's my contact information. And I thank you for your time.